Welcome to another episode of Average Apple User here. Today I'm going to show you how to install Windows on your iPad. And this isn't an app that will allow you connect to a Windows computer. This is Windows fully running on your iPad directly. So without further ado, let's discuss the two things you're going to need to install first on your iPad. So the first one, you're going to need to go using Safari, mobile Safari on your iPad or iPhone if you prefer it to be on your iPhone. And you're going to need to go to iPhonecake.com and install Appcake. So once you're here on your iPad, you would click Appcake for iOS. You would have to install that and then go into your settings and trust the developer of the Appcake. It is totally safe. So once Appcake is installed, you're going to go ahead and go to getutm.app. And then you're going to hit install on that. Follow the on-screen instructions to install that as well. Once you do that, then you have UTM installed and everything is working, we're going to go ahead and switch to the UTM app. So as you can see, I'm now on my iPad. And if I launch the UTM, you're going to notice I already have one that with Windows, but I'm going to show you for educational purposes how to actually get it up and running. Another thing you will need is you will need an ISO of the Windows you're trying to install. You could easily get the ISO from a purchased Windows CD on a computer and make it an ISO file. So in order to actually install Windows, I'll do it from scratch with you. We're going to hit the plus sign in the upper right hand corner and we'll give it a name. So I'm going to just hit new Windows. Okay. Where it says memory, you're going to want to take out the 512 and put in at least 1024, which is one equivalent of 1 gigabyte of memory. Leave the CPU count as 2, and then we need to hit setup drives. So we're going to hit setup drives. Brings us to this screen. We're going to hit the plus key again, and then we're going to hit path select. Then we're going to hit the plus sign again, and then we're going to hit import. Now make sure the ISO file is saved directly on your iPad through files. So when you go to browse, let me get back here. Make sure that it's set on my iPad and that the ISO file is loaded directly on the iPad, not through a cloud storage such as iCloud or Dropbox, but directly on the iPad. Select your ISO file and then go back and hit new drive. Then we're going to hit drive again, hit the plus sign. This time we're going to hit create though, because we need to actually create a hard drive technically. So we're going to just use the name that they suggest. So we're going to click on it and we're going to type in hda.img. And for the size, we're going to just go 50,000. Leave it as expanding and hit save. So now we have both a hard drive and the Windows installation program, the ISO. So we're going to hit back to hit new drive, hit drive, and then we're going to hit plus. We're going to hit the path select again, and we'll do the Windows first. You want to make sure that it says CD/DVD drive is checked on, so it should be green, so it's checked on. Hit drive. You notice that's there now. We're going to hit plus again. We're going to hit path select again. This time we're going to put our hard drive, which is the HDA.img. But this time we're going to take off the CD/DVD drive because this is going to be a virtual hard drive. Hit drive again. Now we have both of them showing up. Hit create VM. Okay. If you use an external keyboard like I do on my iPad, one of the other things you're going to want to do is scroll down a little bit, and where it says open configuration after creation, make sure that's checked. And I'm going to show you why once we create it. All right. So we're going to hit save. And because we did that open configuration check mark, it brings us to this screen. We're going to want to go down to where it says input and make sure instead of server that it says direct. That'll allow us to use an external keyboard when we're typing. So we're going to hit configuration and then we're going to hit done. And it's going to create the file for us. So now, actually, to begin the process of installing Windows, we need to hit the little play button on the one we just created. But mine was named New Windows. You can call it whatever you like. Okay. And you notice it's really small, so I'm going to just maximize it. And as you can see, we are loading, it is starting the Windows setup file. So we'll wait for that to get there. Okay, so now that we're at this screen, we move our mouse around by touching anywhere on the screen and dragging our finger, and it moves the mouse. So we're going to click on next, and then we're going to click on install now. I am using a Windows 7 ISO. This will work for Windows 10. It just takes a lot longer for Windows 10. So I am using Windows 7 to demonstrate this. So we're going to click on install now. And as you can see, if I move the mouse out of the way, setup is starting. Okay, so now we are back at the install Windows, and it's a select this operating system we'd like to install. So I am going to go to Home Basic, and you notice that it's kind of duplicated. Okay, x86 is a 32-bit operating system. The x64 is the 64-bit operating system. Nowadays, most operating systems are 64-bit, so I would suggest installing the 64-bit. So we're going to hit Install Windows 7 Basic x64, and we're going to hit Next. We're going to hit Accept the license terms, and hit Next. Okay, when we get to this screen, we're going to want to click on Custom Advanced. Make sure that our disk that we created, which was a 50 gigabyte drive, is selected, and we're going to hit Next. Alright, so as you can see, it's going to start to copy the Windows files and begin the installation. Once this is complete, I'm going to pause the video here while this is installing, and when it's complete, I will come back. Okay, so we're at 100% of expanding the Windows files, so we should be shortly starting the rest of the installation of the Windows. Finish the installation. And the iPad is going to, well, the Windows is going to restart. The iPad's not going to restart, just the virtual machine is going to restart. As you can see, setup is updating registry settings. It is actually loading Windows directly on the iPad. Again, this is not a software that allows you to just connect to a Windows computer that's running Windows. We are actually installing Windows on the iPad directly. Okay, setup will continue after restarting your computer. Okay, so here we are at the Windows 7 Home Basics. So we're going to go ahead. Now this is where it can get a little touchy. We still have our mouse. We still need to hit the keyboard on the top right hand corner. Activate my external keyboard. Okay. And we're going to type in a name and hit next. Now if you're in full screen mode, sometimes, actually let me show you. Well, that wasn't too bad. The full screen mode is kind of funky sometimes, especially when you're trying to use the keyboard. So you have to sometimes play around with that. All right, it's asking for a password. I'm just going to hit next for now. Now it's asking for a product key. I'm going to put my product key in, but I will be blurring that out so that nobody can use my product key. And this is just your Windows product key that is associated with the Windows that you're installing. And then we're going to hit next. And what it's doing is checking to see if that is a valid product key. Just be patient with it. It does take a couple of minutes for it to go through this step. Okay, so as you can see, we are on the next screen now. I'm gonna hit to just ask me later as far as to help protect my computer. And we get to set the time, so I'm gonna pick the time. And hit next. Uh, Go ahead and hit home network on this, but I will be explaining that once Windows actually starts. It's going to try to connect to your network and apply settings that could take up to a minute or two as well. Now, as you can see, Windows is finalizing your settings. Okay, we are setting up your personal settings for Windows Desktop Update. Okay, and as you can see, we are in Windows. There, that it's loading up. I'm going to turn off the keyboard for right now, dismiss the menu bar so you can see. I'd like to explain two things. One, please notice that the internet has a yellow connection. As of right now, the program does not allow internet or sound, even though it says that there's sound. You have a speaker volume here, and if you move your speaker volume, let me move up here. It moves up. It makes a little upward movement with the speaker volume, but there's actually no sound. This UTM is in beta, so they are still working on it. I know they're working to get sound on it. I'm sure they're working to be able to actually use your iPad's internet connection to connect to the internet. But as of right now, there is no sound and no internet connections. But to prove it is actual Windows, I'm going to go and change my desktop icons. And I'm just going to quickly search for it here. Oh, to get the menu bar back down, if you need it, use a three finger swipe down. And this was that I was talking about, that when you use the keyboard, bring up the keyboard, your screen kind of goes wonky. So you need to play around and adjust your screen manually. So we're gonna go desktop icons. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead here. And I'm just going to do my normal ones. I do user computer and user file. And hit apply. Okay. And I'm going to close the control panel out. Now I have my user files and the computer. All right. And to prove again that it is actual Windows, we'll go ahead and go to all programs. It's basically nothing is on here yet because it's just the basic version of Windows. We'll load Solitaire up. Alright, and as you can see, we have solitaire here, so let's see if we can do something here. Double tap the ace. And we'll, okay, so we have nothing we can use yet. I'm just trying to get to a card that we can use. Still nothing we can use. There we go, so we got a 4. As you see, we can move it. It's not the most fluent, but we can play it. So I'm going to go ahead and exit. So, and then we're going to shut down the computer. And shut down. Alright, so we're gonna reload, load the windows again. Make it full screen. There we go. when you shut down the window, when you shut down Windows, make sure I would leave it at least 5 minutes before you try to load it up again. Otherwise, the program could crash and you'll have to reboot your iPad. If you're jailbroken, you'd have to re-jailbreak your iPad in order to get everything working again. So just if you shut down the Windows, just leave it for like 5 minutes, and then you could go back into it and load it up without a problem. This also can be used to install Linux or Android on your iPad. It's basically just a virtual machine that you could run any operating system. So there you have it. That's how to install and use Windows on an iPad. Thank you for watching, and I hope this video helped you. If it did, please make sure that you subscribe down below. Hit that notification bell to be notified of any videos I might upload in the future. And thank you for watching.